Hello, welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the side story Lone Trail. And considering this is gonna be part 2, you know the drill. We're gonna be doing a quick little recap in a moment, but before we do so, first and foremost, to anybody new to both Arknights and this channel, welcome, hope you enjoy your stay. And also, if you wanna know, and haven't watched part 1 of course, the playlist is in the description of this video, together with a couple of playlists that are linked pretty much to this whole thing, all numerically numbered, including the Ryan Lab manga from start to finish. So if you want to know more, essentially, what is connected and if there are any spoilers, I would... spoilers for the main story, that is. I would recommend part 1 of this narration first. Just listen to the first couple of minutes where I talk about this more in depth, and you should be fine. Speaking as well of spoilers, going a bit deeper into the story now, yes, they are definitely mentioning stuff for the main story, but also stuff that feels that is way beyond where we are currently in the main story. So, kinda not spoilers, kinda not spoilers, but kinda also, if you haven't caught up with that story, maybe spoilers for you? All I can say about that, I will not point them out, by the way. For those of you who do know what the spoilers are, what the significant names and events are, you will know. For those of you who are not aware, I will not point them out, and you will probably be in perfect bliss and harmony. I don't know. Hopefully it will not spoil anything for you if you are not up to date with the main story. But certain things do come up, especially the more we progress apparently into this. Which I guess makes sense. But anyway, I just wanted to point those out. But more importantly, thank you very much for all the likes and the comments on the previous episode. And on top of that, funnily enough, just a couple of hours before Lone Trail went live on Tuesday, my time, I made a post in the community section of YouTube how the channel has reached over 900 subs, and I was thanking pretty much everybody to get the channel to where it is, only for it to, in literally the next day and a half, and this is significant for this channel, explode with like 30 plus at this point of the recording, 30 plus new subs. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have no idea where this suddenly came from, but I think people are excited for this side story. But yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. Anybody who has joined this train, thank you very much and welcome on board. Welcome to this madness and this goddamn council of voices in my head. Hope you enjoy. This is definitely a romp, and man, I didn't expect it to grow that fast all of a sudden. But yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm just humbled at this point. But yeah, thank you once again for all the likes and the comments in the previous episode. Like I always say, they really help to push these videos in the algorithm. And especially if you guys recommend these videos to other people, that will help even more. So thank you. Whew, okay. With the mushy stuff out of the way, let us proceed with our recap of the previous part. For those of you who want to skip the recap and just go to the news section, I do have one more thing to say before we get into the news section, but that will be after the recap. But if you want to skip the recap, like I said, timestamp is, as always, in the comment section below, in the pinned comment from here on onward, so you can just skip this part and go straight to the new stuff. But on the previous part, we began our story with a snippet of many cutscenes that would follow throughout the story, and that are pretty much flashbacks to the youth of Kirsten Wright. We see a cutscene essentially, well, we read about a cutscene that takes place in Kirsten's childhood days, where her parents, who were also very prominent inventors, took her on essentially on a joyride with one of their aircrafts that they were building. Because their parents, just as Kirsten has inherited it from her parents, are obsessed with the sky and reaching the limits and breaking the limits that exist. So we see a cutscene taking place on her first flight, as she sees her home city for the first time from up in the air. We later also get greeted to another cutscene where we see the sadness, essentially, which is the passing of her parents in Kirsten at their funeral, because her parents have reached the limits of flight and have crash landed from them. But more on that in a minute. We, after that glimpse at the beginning, proceed to get greeted by the joyful news that Ferdinand Clooney has survived. Great. I was so happy to see him. Whatever. He's alive and he's together with Colonel Blake now. And they are doing their scheminess. They're doing stuff. Meanwhile, Mulesys, who is at Rhinelab, is at the door essentially for Control's main office, aka Kirsten's main office. She enters, but Kirsten is obviously not there, as she's been missing for a while now. But she gets greeted by none other than olheyak. The two of them have a scuffle. They engage pretty much in combat. Mulesys does call her by another name, which is Kukulkan. Just pretty much kind of technically another name for olheyak, or rather for Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan? Can't remember right now. I don't see the document in front of me. Pardon. But yeah, pretty much Mayan myth and legend. Anyway, the two of them have a scuffle, they disengage, and olheyak disappears, and it was like nothing ever was, like nothing ever happened. We then switch our scenes to a figure that we have seen previously in the manga for the first time when it comes to this storyline. The Tin Man appears, and he is waiting for some old friends to come and greet him. That old friend being none other than Kal'tsit, and she appears and lore dumps the most. Can we just agree that Kal'tsit appearing immediately had to dump the most important lore in Arknights history on everybody that very same second she appeared? Yes, I'm talking about the hot dogs. That is the most single important lore in Arknights history. I will not hear it from anybody to dispute that. Oh my god, Kal'tsit, really. She really became a funny bone, I guess, at this point? She's a funny fossil. An FF. Anyway, the two of them have a conversation, and we see that Kal'tsit is accompanied by two other operatives from Rhode Island. One of them being Rosmontes, the other one being Ifrit. Ifrit also having a visual redesign for this story, considering it's been a while since she initially joined up with Rhode Island. As we later also hear, if she continues the way she is, in potentially 2 years, she might become an elite operator for Rhode Island, which is kind of hype, not gonna lie. But the four of them do observe a shooting star, which is obviously not a shooting star, but a falling object crash landing somewhere in Tremounts. olheyak is observing the crash, and as the object falls into District 13, she immediately heads out to retrieve some crucial components from it, one of them being a black box. Mulesys, in the meanwhile, visits the doctor of Rhode Island, who has been left behind in the city, as he's waiting for his other companions to arrive now, considering Mechanist went back, and wakes the doctor up with a nice blow of air into their ear. And I will be quite honest here, if that would have been me, because I really do not like that, I would have probably slapped the air and probably slapped Mulesys. Sorry, Mulesys. I just don't like that. Anyway, that's just me. She very lovingly wakes the doctor up, leaves some breakfast there, and then just flips away, because it was a clone. The doctor then gets greeted by the arrival of his companions from Rhode Island, which is partially a surprise to the doctor as well, because after they see Kal'tsit appear, they also see that Kal'tsit is accompanied by Ifrit and Rosmontes, which does catch them off guard. Rosmontes, by the way, being back in Colombia, is very significant, of course, because she has ties to this place, as she was also an experiment at some point, plus the fact that she got invited actually to come back by someone who sent her a letter. One thing I skipped, actually, pardon, I actually skipped this at the beginning. We also saw a scene at the very beginning of the story, pardon, once again, which was a scene taking place in a prison where a individual by the name of Justin Fitzroy Jr. Was there to pick someone up from the prison, which was none other than Logan Williams. And for those of you who do know that name and remember it, yep, it's that guy, it's that asshole. But anyway, coming back to where I left off, after the scene with the Doctor and the rest of the team arriving, we see Saria in the city, who is trying to enter the now quarantine zone where the object landed, but is not able to go in as the military is stopping her from entering. But the appearance of the Tin Man alleviates that because he takes her along as a companion. Silence, who is also nearby and trying to enter the same area, does get also unexpected help, but she doesn't know from who or see from who, as olheyak, who is observing her from a short distance, uses a bit of her arts to play a tiny little prank, you could say, on one of the military personnel, as Silence uses that opportunity to slip by. We then see a meeting between the Vice President and Colonel Blake. They discuss a couple of matters, and Blake is about to do some risky business. Meanwhile, Saria and the Tin Man have reached the crash site. They observe the object, determine that it's definitely something that Kirsten concocted, but they also notice that the black box is missing. Silence, who is nearby in pursuit of the transmitters from Dorothy's lab, as we see in a flashback that a couple of them have gone missing, and Dorothy has tasked Silence to go and help her retrieve the missing transmitters. She also notices Saria and the Tin Man, tries to take a peek and listen to what they are talking about with one of her drones. The drone gets promptly shot down by one of the military personnel on site, who interrogates her, but she gets saved by the appearance of a new character to us, which is the director of human resources, or HR director for short, for Rhine Lab, Jara Booker Wilson, aka a former movie star by the name of Marianne, who is, working now for a couple of years as the HR director for Rhine Lab. And she promptly takes Silence along with her. Meanwhile, we see olheyak delivering the spoils that she went for to a woman by the name of Nasty in a building that gets described to us being apparently underground and also shaped like a very deep, very big well. The woman, Nasty, turns out to be none other than a banshee of the Sarkas. And for those of you who do know how significant that is, oh boy, that is quite a character to be there. But the two of them exchange some pleasantries, and we move on. As after that, the woman by the name of Nasty proceeds to go and meet with Kirsten. The two of them discuss the barrier, as they promptly call it, and yes, we pretty much promptly get a confirmation right there that yes, there is a barrier around the planet, like a really, really big barrier enveloping the goddamn planet. And they discuss it as studies about that exist for apparently centuries in all tomes and stuff, but none of them are anything too accurate. Meanwhile, or rather later, we see the Rhode Island team, who is now pretty much all together, except Silence. But we see the Doctor, Ifrit, and Rosmontes in one room, and Kaltzit and Saria discussing some material in another room that is soundproof, about some materials that Saria brought along to see if they can pinpoint where Kirsten is, what is going on. But as stuff is going down, they get promptly attacked by a group of power armor, a remotely controlled power armors that have no pilots in them this time. And as they do fight back, the power armor suddenly retreat, as it becomes clear that the objective was to destroy the materials that Saria brought back, which brings our team back to square one. We then later see a scene play out between Ifrit and Montes, where they're just playful with each other and talking and doing stuff, when they get interrupted by someone approaching, or someone actually coming to the hotel room where the two of them are together with the doctor. We switch scenes, however, back to Silence, who is now equipped with new threads, as she received from Jara, and is in pursuit still of the transmitters. She finds one, pursues it, and runs into none other than her very old mentor, Parvis. They have a, you could say, nice little chat between each other. Parvis being Parvis as usual, Silence being kind of very, how would you put it, distraught around him, not really in the best moods, or a bit shook would be also a good word to say, but they exchange a couple of words, after which Silence later will leave. However, back at our Rhode Island team, we see that the guest that appeared at the door is none other than the Tin Man, and he has not a commission or plea to Rhode Island to help them. He pretty much has an order for Rhode Island to help them deal with the military. But in the meantime, we also swap back to Silence, who is now walking the streets of Tremont and is a bit beside herself, not knowing what to do and how to proceed and what was she even doing here, and almost gets run over by a car. The car, or rather the driver, didn't do it intentionally, of course. The car was accelerated by someone else's meddling, but she got protected by Mulesies at the end. Mulesies exchanged a couple of words with Silence, and let's slip that a couple of her Rhode Island companions are in the city. She was already aware of Saria, but she didn't know that Ifrit was also present in the city, which does shake her up a bit, and that is pretty much where we left off. So then, this will be today's coverage. Stage 3, obviously we're gonna add the training stage, just the description and the title as always, the cutscene that is in between 3 and 4, and obviously stage 4. Now, before we however head in, after finishing stage 4, this little button here has opened up. I know what's in there, however I haven't utilized it yet, so we will do this together at the end. I have no idea what will pop up when I press it, when I press a certain other button in there, so we shall see when we get to that. But anyway, let us begin properly here with the narration. So, last time we left off on the training stage, so let us add the title of the training stage. So, training stage 1, titled Cutting Edge Architecture. Nasty, head of engineering, always has novel ideas for buildings. And also, a quick little by the way, now that I'm looking at the name and being reminded of it, I am pronouncing it Nasty, not because of this is how my Croatian blood is pushing me to pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. I am going by the fact that she is Sarkaz, or rather a banshee, and the fact that I'm kind of very sure that the name is not supposed to be pronounced Nasty. So I'm gonna stick with Nasty unless someone somewhere or something else corrects me on that. But yeah, anyway, kind of similar to, you know, how I've heard English people say Manfred instead of Manfred, because it's a German name. Anyway, the German blood in me compels me. Anyway, pardon. Let's proceed to our first stage. Stage CW-3. Front stage, backstage. There are always sacrifices to be made behind the scenes. Let's start.
Hurry! All the headlines will be the Vice President's visit to Rhine tomorrow. The Editor-in-Chief will have our heads if we don't get a good photo.
Wait, I can't find my press pass.
What? You can't go in without it.
Go and find a good spot. I'll look for it.
So many people. I couldn't even get to the cafe downstairs for breakfast.
A public visit by the Vice President, broadcasted live. Every newspaper is here. It's a wonder they didn't completely block the roads.
You see it, Rosmontes? What? First the factory, then Rhine Lab. 3 months likes to block off a place when something happens. Rhine Lab is different from the factory, isn't it? They blocked off some of the key roads leading in, probably out of security concerns for the Vice President's convoy. Which causes other streets to fill up. Did they think people wouldn't see if they blocked it off? That's dumb. Doctor, what are you looking at?
Will it rain today?
Sunny all day long. The hotel TV had the weather report on when we were leaving. Guess you didn't see it. Anyway, it's not the rainy season yet.
Another sunny day. The urban planning of Tremounts is intricate, the gaps between the staggered skyscrapers allowing sunlight to pass through for the sun to paint each street with warm light evenly in these early days of winter. You look up to see a dark cloud in the distance, floating nonchalantly in the sky. The wind is blowing towards the cloud, and it looks to be moving away from the city. But it never disappears. You also see the busy streets, the parked cars, the flash of light up high in the distance, and well-disguised passerbys. You keep a poker face while urging the two girls on.
Did you find something, Doctor?
Let's go. Mulsis is waiting.
Don't worry, Doctor. We'll protect you.
Don't forget today's mission.
I know. You've said it a dozen times before we left. I promised to listen to you, and I keep my promises. I think we're here. Doctor, we meet again. As usual, I'm the one waiting.
I'm not late. I'm a minute early.
Well, I got here before you. I got myself ready as soon as your message came in.
This is your company after all.
Well, this is what you asked for. Plans for the Rhine Lab building and visitors passes for you and your young assistants. I called in a few favors to get your clearance, the most of the building and data. Today only. There are lots of hidden spaces in the building, both above and below the ground. My tip is to have someone focus on the underground.
What about you?
I have to accompany Mr. Vice President on his Rhine tour, of course. Kirsten's not here, and we're missing a few section heads. Can't have anyone else calling out. I'll give you a big personal thank you when we're all done.
It's always a clone. You may be on your own, Ifrit. Meanwhile,
I'll read your resignation letter, Bieber. I read your resignation letter, Bieber. Why so sudden?
I'm sorry, Director Jara. I discovered something yesterday.
Go on.
Energy's wing has 38 ceiling lamps and 21 vents. The carpet beneath our feet looks the same at first glance, but a closer look reveals that there are actually 3 versions, subtly different in pattern and fringes.
I didn't know you were planning to go into interior design, Bieber.
You would have done the same if all the projects you're involved in are up in the air, and the only work you have to do each day is to reread the report that you wrote the day before.
I understand. It's hard work keeping your guys calm while pretending that everything is business as usual.
I could live with hard work, Director. The labs have always been relatively independent of one another, and research is modular. Everybody goes about their own business, even if something happens to Site-359, even if Ferdinand quits unexpectedly. At the lower levels, people don't know much, and believe this is no different from any number of research accidents that have happened before. The kind that every tech company deals with every now and then. But I know this one is different. Control has virtually vanished without a trace, and Ferdinand suddenly resigned. Every day is like sitting on a fire. There's been no formal change of leadership in energy, no one to tell me what happened or what I should do. Now the vice president is touring Rhine, it makes my stomach seize up when I walk into the lab and see the excitement in everybody's eyes.
So you talked to Walbert Kaczynski's headhunter, Sonia, right?
Yes.
I'm not reprimanding you, Bieber. Your position at Rhine Lab allows you to see more than the average employee, but not the full picture. It's normal to feel anxious. The responsibility falls on me. I ask you to keep things calm in the energy section, but neglected your own emotional needs.
It's not your fault, just weakness on my part.
Why do you think the vice president is making this sudden visit?
I don't know, but he'll find out that we're
The press conference that he held a few days ago has to do with us.
Really?
That's all I can tell you for now. How about this? Take 1 month off, pay leave, maybe it'll be enough for you to clear your head and return to your post. If you still insist on resigning after that, I won't stop you. Rhine grew from a single lab to 10 sections, running more than 100 large-scale projects simultaneously. It has seen bigger storms. It has survived them all. Just give it a little thought. Sorry for the trouble, Sonia. The staff need a way to vent in times like this. Bieber should be the last one. If he's okay, the energy section is okay for now. Yeah, catch you for lunch or dinner one of these days. Give Tin Man my thanks. Come in.
Before I continue, I want to quickly point out that the person who just left, the random employee, was called Bieber. And the person who just entered, who is a more prominent figure in this story, is called Justin. Someone knew what they were doing. And I really appreciate it. God damn. Anyway. How many does that make this week?
Not your problem.
Just don't send them to business if you're reassigning them. I don't need flightly idiots like that.
They're cornerstones of this company, Justin. Just as you are. And I may be old, but I'm not senile enough to assign a PhD in energy mechanics to be one of your salesmen. The vice president is almost here. I doubt you have the time to fool around in my office.
Just giving you a heads up. I'm seeing a few new investors today, and I have a number of important remote meetings to attend. Since the vice president is here to inspect research, I'll excuse myself. None of the phones in business stopped ringing the day the vice president announced his visit to Rhine. I had to get someone to add 2 dedicated hotlines. It's a clear signal. The world of three-mountain finance... No, not just three mounts. Not just finance. Every Colombian who even has a passing interest in investment has their eyes on us. That Bieber has a lot of stock options, doesn't he? I say you just accept his resignation, then hire him back at a lower salary when the company's stock soars and he begs for it.
Rhinelab is not a stock market toy, Justin.
Now that is hurtful. Mayor Benjamin, Councilman Chris, Deputy Phil, Commander Colette, even the Chief Justice. That's just a few of the people I'm talking to today. Could Kirsten have kept playing her hide-and-seek game with Blake if I hadn't continued to sweet-talk all these friends?
You utilized a lot of resources.
Just doing my job. And one correction, I'm not a cornerstone of Rhinelab. A cornerstone exists for other people to build upon. I don't have the same loyalty to Kirsten as you do. I chose her and Ryan. I helped her because I wanted to take control of my own fate, of everyone's fates. This isn't a game. News from Maylander. Yes, sir. They have personnel deployed around the area to ensure your safety. Good. How much further? 2 more blocks until Rhine Lab headquarters. Canceling today's tour is always an option, sir, if you're concerned. If the Maylander Foundation can't be trusted, then canceling the tour won't be enough to protect me. I can't very well skip class to see the mining platforms chase the sun because I'm scared of exams, like I did when I was young. Not when I'm the vice president of the Colombian Union. You should get some rest while you can, sir. I doubt there will be many more chances today. Do you remember how I described 3 months at yesterday's banquet? The future of Colombia. You said you love this youthful city, just as you love this youthful nation. As a matter of fact, I don't like this place at all. There are no burden beasts, no clouds of dust kicked up by their hooves, no duels for some dumb reason, no pioneering spirit. Only white-collar workers and their coffee, high-rise buildings that split the sky, and air so clean it makes your stomach squirm. I believe that the mountain circulation system employs... Don't... Powered... I'll be hearing far too many explanations like that over the next few hours. You don't like dealing with scientists? I won't go that far. They're simple. They can go on and on about their products, blueprints or ideals, sometimes outlandish, sometimes crazy, mostly incomprehensible. All I need to do is smile, nod and shake their hands when they're done, giving them a few words of encouragement. Much simpler than dealing with the old folks of the special district. You represent the state. The people like to see Colombia support science. It's good for your image and your odds in the next election. The vice presidential election, Colombia's biggest political event. But I'm thinking that perhaps I shouldn't spend too much time and effort on it. You've achieved a lot in the past several years. The polls indicate you enjoy a high level of support. The representatives who support you have also been in contact with that influential Vulpo director of Rhine Lab. It's not easy to gain the support of Big Tech. You have a head start. No, I meant in comparison with Mark Max, the president ever guiding Colombia to her promised future. All that national attention surrounding the vice presidential elections just adds to the embarrassment. As I also quick little side note, if that bird on his shoulder ever starts speaking, and I mean speaking human normal language, oh boy do I have a voice for that thing in mind. Anyway, what is this screen showing? The cargo passageway behind Rhine Lab. A little to the left. Zoom in. Good. Now, there shouldn't be any dead zones. The soldier is nervous as he operates the equipment. The colonel has been standing behind him for some time now, his brow furrowed. The 5 blocks around Rhine Lab headquarters have all been placed under surveillance. Many figures are moving on the screens. Key areas have been blocked off, but there continues to be a considerable crowd nearby. Of course, the crowd also provides good cover for their operations. The soldier scans each monitor, not daring to even blink. What's the situation on the ground? All undercover and support units are in position. Good. Where is Ferdinand? He's on the phone. The phone? Yes, should I summon him? Never mind. No need to tell him. What about the colleagues in the defense section that he talked about? We've taken over. Good. A shadow flashes across the display on the bottom left, before appearing on the other screens. It is the Columbia displayed on top of a car. Several black vehicles maintain equal separation with it, both in front and behind, with machine-like discipline. Begin. The Vice President's convoy is in sight. Begin. Have a nice tour, Jackson.
Mr. Vice President, there have been reports that Triton Factory explosion in District 13 was linked to Rhine Lab. Is your visit to Rhine Lab at this time intended to dispel such speculation?
Excuse me?
District 13 is still under lockdown. Did you authorize the Army's actions, and how long will the lockdown remain in effect? Will you be meeting with Control, right?
Excuse me? Mr. Vice President, about your schedule in 3 months.
Patience, please. There will be a press conference after the Vice President has concluded his tour. We have set aside a space to accommodate members in the press. Please follow me and refrain from disturbing other staff members in their work.
There is no one else? Damn! Shut him up! Look at that hiding weapons in recording equipment. Search him and make sure he doesn't have anything else on him. There's a discrepancy in the documents. Find a way to check the credentials of all the reporters in the press area. Be discreet. I got this one. No commotion. Lost contact with A1, A2, A3. Have all our locations been compromised? HQ, need immediate instruction on whether to continue operation. That's the 9th one. If you're used to dealing with terrorists, you know a thing or two about planning a terror attack. Report. All potential vantage points within sniping range of Rhine Lab have been secured. We have neutralized 9 snipers and 11 disguised assassins. Continue to monitor the area around Rhine Labs. Roads, vehicles, pedestrians. Leave no stone unturned. Roger. The Vice President has entered the Rhine building. It will be difficult for us to deploy directly inside the building. Do you intend to be on scene personally? No. I got a message from a colleague. There's somewhere else that I need to be. Share the intel with the doctor of Rhode Island. Follow any orders issued by the doctor. Acknowledged.
This one makes 7.
Are you okay, Rosmontes?
Just mass-produced power armor, Doctor. Don't worry, it won't take too much effort. The serial numbers match the ones that the defense section lost, but 5 are still unaccounted for. Should we keep looking, we need to eliminate them before they leave the secret passage, right? They'll cause chaos if they get out, even if they can't get to the Vice President.
Good work, Rosmontes.
How did you think of using the access permissions granted by Muses to check the defense section's equipment log?
I didn't think the assassins would throw acid at the Vice President disguised as researchers.
I see.
Something feels off. These mechs seem cautious in their movements. It doesn't seem so much as assassination attempt as...
Movement, Doctor.
Power armor?
No. Who could be in a secret passage at this hour?
Hold it, Rosmontes.
Doctor, Operator Resmontes, what are you doing here? I see. Sorry, Doctor. I've been maintaining radio silence because I had infiltrated Rhine to retrieve data for Calcit. As for Calcit's whereabouts, I have no idea either. The remaining power armor? I destroyed 5 before running into you and the Doctor. That makes a total of 12, which matches the number that the defense section lost. And so I went to find someone. I'm guessing the feeling of being dragged out of a suit of power armor is not something you want to experience again, Reggie. What orders did Ferdinand give you?
He only wanted to borrow a few suits of power armor.
Ferdinand can't be trusted.
What about you? How do I trust someone who repeatedly ignores the rules that she sets, showing up at Rhine whenever she wants, who abandoned all her responsibilities? He took over the fence when you left. He paid our wages for the past few years. He remembers our names, our hobbies, even gives us gifts every once in a while. Ferdinand may have been an asshole, but I have to say, Director Saria, that asshole paid our bills.
The Vice President is still inside Rhine. You know the consequences if something happens. We must check everything that Ferdinand may have touched.
Just the 10 suits of power armor. You have my word. 10?
I destroyed 7. Saria destroyed 5.
That's impossible. Ferdinand only borrowed 10. I watched him enter the commands myself. What kind of man is Ferdinand, Saria?
Proud, arrogant, thinks himself better than anyone else. But if there is one thing that sets him above other people, it's that he actually puts his boasts into action.
Okay, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think those 10 mechs are for assassinating the Vice President.
What?
As for the extra ones, looks like he and the army are on guard against each other. Ferdinand doesn't want the Vice President assassinated at Rhine Lab. Alright then, and we shall continue in a moment, but first we have one new enemy to add to our collection, which is the Ark Commando. Soldiers from the experimental unit born of the Horizon Ark project, able to fly at low altitudes with their jet propulsion equipment. And I like to add here as well, very fun to watch at higher altitudes where they can't fly, to drop into the pits. Very fun. Anyway, continuing on with the after potion. I feel like I'm a kid in a classroom having a science lesson for the first time. It's no hyperbole at all to say that science is the future of Columbia. I regret not being able to stay longer and hear about your other projects.
You are always welcome at Rhine Lab, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Director Jara. I hope my visit didn't cause too much inconvenience.
Kind of you to say. It was a pleasure to be your tour guide today.
Having the famous Mariette Blake as a tour guide alone makes this trip to Three Mounts worthwhile. Between the two of us, I'm a pretty big fan of yours. I have an autographed poster of your debut film on the office wall.
Really?
A present from my wife when I was elected. Kindly, make a note to follow up with the special district government about Rhine Lab's application for a new research facility. Will do, sir. I guess that will be it for today, Miss Jara.
I wish you a pleasant stay at Three Mounts.
Thank you. May the sun shine on the next day, as it has today.
Come on, mash that photo button! Mr. Vice President, what do you think about your trip to Rhine today? Ask your questions in order, please. We have 10 minutes. There's no rush. You heard me right. I'm clapping. Vice President's visit bolsters Rhine Lab's claim as industry leader. The headlines write themselves. The tour concluded without incident. The Vice President will leave Rhine Lab in 10 minutes. Doctor. I got the map you sent, Doctor. So there's a secret passage that leads right to the underground structure, but it's not in the plans that Muses gave you. Leave it to me. I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs while you and Rosmantis have fun with the power armor up there. Didn't even see a shadow. Saria is coming for me. Then I have to go to the underground structure too. The Vice President is leaving in a few minutes, right? We can't take any risks. Ifrit moving out, Doctor.
I'm back. How are things up there? Not sure. I didn't quite make it up to the surface, but there was no commotion. I'm guessing the attack failed. What about us? We activated the jammer and aren't supporting any other units. I don't think anyone is coming here. Ferdinand's route was very well concealed. Let's carry out the plan. It's almost time. The explosives? Set up while we were scouting. 2 tubes of advanced plastic explosives, enough to breach the containment structure. You know, I thought Ferdinand wanted to come back to Rhine Lab. This is the liquefied originium pipeline used by the energy section. The Colonel says he's stuck in the same boat as us. He has no choice. Don't really see the point of blowing this up now, though. The Vice President should have left Rhine Lab by now. What good will blowing up the originium pipes in the underground structure do? The Colonel has his plans. All we need to do is follow orders. Who goes there? A kid?
Looks like the Doctor's intel was good. Hey, you. I don't know what you're hiding here. Why you're hiding here, but I think you ought to surrender now.
We lost contact with all units. Yes, sir. Sudden comms failure. The Vice President and his retinue, the press. No sign that anything is amiss. Looks like our guys were neutralized before they could move. Reports indicate that our operations within Rhine are also being disrupted by the sudden appearance of some power armor. We're also losing signal from the cameras on the streets. We're losing control of the scene, sir. So, our best laid plans are like a sieve to the intelligence network of the Mailender Foundation. It's not surprising that they're able to respond, given how hastily this assassination plan was hatched. Should we pull out, sir? They're bound to trace the trail back here sooner or later. No hurry. Mr. Vice President said he would like to have a nice chat with top researchers. I intend to oblige him. Situation at C1 and C2? Still in position. Signal stable. Activate the remote control on the top right of the panel, Riker. Yes, sir. The remote control Blake referred to is a mundane mechanical button, fitted with an old-fashioned safety lock. The soldier enters the password, and the cover pops open, revealing the red button. What is this, sir? Remote control for the explosives that will blow up the containment around liquefied originium pipes. Look at the screen. According to the routes that Ferdinand provided, the energy section has several liquefied originium pipelines running through the west wing of Rhine Lab. Rhine Lab Engineering does a thorough job. In addition to standard safety measures, there are also underground containment structures that prevent chain reactions in the event of a leak. The original plan was to cause a leak with an explosion, creating a chance for operatives on the ground to approach Jackson. By chance, however, Jackson's convoy will cross over one of these pipelines on the way back. Your Rhine Lab staff? I heard the defense section has a lot of bad-tempered people, but I'm surprised they would hire a kid so young.
I told you to surrender. I didn't say you could talk. I'll try to short stop of turning you to ashes. The doctor and Saria may want to question you after all.
Wait, is that a flamethrower? Stop! There are liquefied originium pipelines all around us.
So that's what's going on.
The flaming red Savra girl makes her decision in a split second. She re-engages the flamethrower safety lock and swings it hard at the one on the left. Then she charges towards the one on the right and catches the side of his face with her fist. In the time it takes for a flame to flicker, Ifrit is back on her 2 feet again, dusting off her palms. Ugh. I think my nose is broken. Run, kid!
What? What's that sound? Damn, he started the countdown! Less than 1 minute left.
Can C1 and C2 make it back? Their contributions will be remembered, as well as others who give their lives this day. But, Colonel, it's an entire convoy, 5 cars, a dozen people in the retinue, possibly even Rhine staff members and reporters, and other passerby. You have your orders, Riker. But I'll hit the switch myself. That's my job. Your job is to report as soon as you get a signal from C1 and C2. I won't defend myself if I stand trial for this someday. So I'm going to waste my time explaining myself to my soldiers now. Yes, sir. We have the signal. The Vice President's convoy is reaching the target area on the west side of the Rhine Lab. Colonel? Blake places his hand on the cold mechanical button. A chill runs up his finger, and he pauses for a couple of seconds. The soldier glances at his superior officer, whose brow is furrowed behind his sunglasses. The soldier realizes that his commander is even more anxious than he is. Damn it all to hell. Blake presses the button. There is no sound, only an explosion on some of the screens. On the tiny screen, the collapsing streets were like foam boards underneath bubbling flame. Then the screen goes black, the camera destroyed by flying debris. There is no sound, but Blake and the soldier could hear the deafening boom in their heads.
The surface should be close, but I can't see the path with all these stone slabs in the way. Hey, are you two okay? Oh no, a chain explosion.
Ifrit? Ifrit hears a familiar voice through the echoes of the explosion and the falling rubble.
Saria? I'm here!
I hear you. Hang in there. Have a look. Ifrit can hear Saria's voice shaking. Something touches her fingertips in the darkness. Calcium crystals? Saria's originium arts. Like a stream of water, the crystals fill the gaps in the rubble, then expand, releasing a sickening crack. Saria has forced an opening in the collapsed structure. A hand reaches down from above. Ifrit grabs it and feels it pull her up, while the calcium tunnel shatters behind her. For those of you who have read the manga, Seems familiar.
Don't move. I'm fine, just a little dusty. Your face. Were you crying? I wasn't crying, just a little anxious, that's all. Alright. Your hands are dusty too, Saria. You're making my face even dirtier. Oh, sorry. And these two? They were the ones who planted the bomb that blew up the liquefied originium pipeline, so I brought them out. But I couldn't stop the explosion. You did well. You really did. What is it, Ifrit? Silence? What are you doing here? Silence. Why are you here? Mr. Vice President, Mr. Powered, it's safe to go now.
The convoy...
Just a couple of mechs blown up. No need to worry. This car has been modified by the engineering section. It may not look much, but you can trust it. I hope you brought your driver's licenses, Mr. Powered. We'll take a special passage to the east side. We've planned a new route for you. The rest of your retinue will return in small groups once the dust has settled.
Was the explosion expected?
No, we wouldn't have allowed an explosion of this size to occur if we knew about it in advance. But Rhinelab and the Mainlander Foundation's work isn't done until you're back safely at your residence. The enemy has more than one plan, and we have more than one contingency.
Very good. I just don't want to see another Triton in the headlines tomorrow.
There's no need to worry. We already have a plan in place for the press. Once again, I wish you a pleasant stay in Three Mounts.
Thank you. Alright then, and we shall move on to our cutscene only stage. CWSD-2. Restless Waves. Danger rushes in, like a tidal wave.
Silence, finally! Ever since I entered the city, I've been wondering when I would get to see you. Silence? Ifrit, come over here. Don't worry, Silence. I'm all good here. Good enough to knock out a row of bad guys while carrying you in one arm and running laps around them. If you don't believe me, I'll even carry Saria with my other arm just to prove it. Stop speaking for a bit. You'll affect the drone readings. Oh, okay.
Silence lowers her head to examine Ifrit, just like she used to do, with the same meticulous and gentle manner as ever, but Ifrit still feels very nervous. She has never been scared of Silence getting angry at her. One of the first things she learned growing up was that Silence's anger stemmed from a concern for her. She knows that after Silence is angry, she helps her take care of the things that were doing her harm, and helps her chase off the things that were scaring her. It was not real anger, but Ifrit is scared of this Silence. When Silence does not show an ounce of anger, and rather is quieter than usual, she realizes something must have hit Silence's limit.
The skies in Three Mounts are always gloomy and grey, and the storm clouds are as big as monsters. No wonder you used to always walk into my room with your hair all drenched. Oh, and hot dogs. Do you like them? The doctor bought some for me and Rosmontis, and I want to try one with strawberry flavored syrup next time. Silence. I decided to come here myself. I bothered Dr. Katsid about it for a long time, and also wrote the doctor a super long letter. I completed all my courses and training in the last few years. I can do a lot of missions. just like you and Saria. Blood originium crystal density has slightly increased. What are the estimated rates of increase for that and for the self-fusion assimilation? For now, they're within controllable ranges. We won't know the rest of the results until Ifrit returns to the landship for a comprehensive examination. You want me to return to the landship? You guys still don't trust me. No, Ifrit, I trust you. But there shouldn't be any need for any buts here with Saria around. 4 years ago, it was in this very city and under the very same signboard. I almost lost you forever. Back then she was at your side too, no different than right now. But I lived, and I've been living good. Saria protected me, so this time I can protect you and everyone with her. Ifrit, listen to Silence. She's your doctor, and you should trust her the most. But I trust you too. I trust the doctor, and Resmontes too. There's no difference in the amount of trust I have in you guys. Saria, I saw you the other day. You were with a mysterious man in a trench coat at Triton Factory in District 13, and on the very same day, something fell from the sky. So you were there too. Just another Rhine-related secret experiment, right? Of course you won't answer, because this is you trying to protect me and Ifrit. Just 10 minutes ago, Ifrit stopped an assassination attempt on the Vice President. What? I'm not trying to conceal information from you, Silence, but what I have on hand is also very limited. There are simply too many different factions involved in this, and all I can do is try my best to prevent the situation from deteriorating even further. We must put this back on the right track. I've heard that line from Director Saria too many times. You were always in control of the situation back at Rhine Lab, but those horrifying experiments kept popping up, one after another. There will always be someone hurt by the ambitions of another, and these wounds won't simply be healed by criminal charges and trials, not to mention a trial that should never have happened in the first place. I can't help but wonder, when you people finally extinguish this fire, just how many will be left lying in the ruins, breathing their last breaths just like Ifrit was? You perceive the situation more thoroughly and clearly than I can, but you still choose out of habit to help them control. You hope to minimize any damage and preferably shrink it until it becomes unnoticeable, rather than put a stop to the immorality at its source. I can't deny that. Saria, I've been waiting years to ask you a question. Your inability to make a genuine stand against Rhine, is it because deep in your bones you've always been the same as them? The same as Control? Sniper! Silence! Get down! Ifrit! What? Saria?
White calcium crystals float before her eyes. They had briefly protected her and Ifrit just moments ago, but now they disintegrate silently as the caster falls. Confirmed hit on the target. Great. This high-powered energy weapon is capable of blasting a hole open through an armored vehicle, and yet it wasn't able to penetrate her arts. Then Weaver and her arts are tough as shit, harder than power armor. You mean to say there's a possibility she might have survived? Possibility? I'm so fed up with that word. All those researchers tossing it around. What I want is results. Definite results. Then what happened with the Vice President? Maylander won't give us a second chance. The op team is still on standby. Should we order them to withdraw? No need. Give them something else to do. Just like how we dealt with that eyesore of a Weaver, don't let anyone causing chaos in Rhine get off scot-free. It's time for those idiots who think they can do whatever they want with just a few companies under their belts to wake up. No one can challenge the Colombian army's authority on Colombian soil and get away with it. Move! Blake, I didn't give you Ryan's contacts for you to drag it into their gutter. Which is why you've used your channels within Ryan. The guilty are often the first to complain, Ferdinand. Are you aware of our current situation? Someone disrupted the intel, and the detonator went off too early. And now reporters have already spun the story that this has nothing to do with Jackson at all. What did you say? I said the assassination failed. Are you satisfied? Come on, Ferdinand. Put away whatever weapon you're hiding. Do you really think you can even leave a scratch on me? Relax. I don't blame you. Blake pats Ferdinand's cheek twice. Ferdinand expected Blake's eyes to be filled with a murderous intent, but to his surprise, all he sees is a smile. Carrying out an assassination within Rhine, given our current intel, would have been extremely difficult, even without your meddling. And even now, that company is all that's on your mind. Loyalty to your own desire isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. I'm serious, Ferdinand. It's an admirable trait. You're fit to be a soldier. But now that we've failed... What of it? This is just the beginning. Okay, I do not know why the sound stopped there. I thought the thing is gonna crash. Pardon. It's a good thing that the Mainlander has us pinned down. Do you know just how many of my superiors have been waiting ages to strike out against them? Before the situation spirals out of control, our losses will only win me more support. And if things really spiral... Trust me, you don't want to know how things will end for me. Of course, I can't guarantee how they'll end for you either. I'll stick to our agreement to help you find Kirsten. We can still turn the tables once we have her in our grasp. That goes for both of us, and Ryan too. I'll go meet with Jara. Sure, by all means. Let's see if it's luck or fate. It will catch up to us first. Squad A, search that side. Squad B, conduct your search over here. Our targets are a hooded figure with no weapons and a feline girl able to use highly lethal arts.
Doctor, my terminal lit up. That means it's time for me and Ifrit to meet up, but I can't sense her presence.
She probably found Saria. Ryan should be safe for now.
This place isn't safe at all. There are too many laboratories here. They all have the same white walls, just like a maze. Ifrit hates this kind of place the most. Whenever she talks about these memories, her breaths become shorter and her hands get cooler than usual. I want to go find her. I don't want to see my friend get hurt. These walls aren't so tough. Just give me the order and I can get you out of here easily.
Let's not be hasty. We can't expose ourselves yet. Thank you very much for choosing not to smash up our walls. We imported the material from Casimir's. They're very expensive. There's no need to be so nervous, little girl. As you can clearly see, I'm only a businessman. Nothing but a fountain pen and a wallet in my pocket. Well, hello there. I didn't expect to see you here, Director Fitzroy. Sure enough, my next meeting just happens to be around the corner, so I figured I would greet our guests on my way over. Area C and D have been searched. There's a ton of conference rooms in front. Prepare to check them one by one.
Enemies in the corridors, and a lot of them too. Give me the order, Doctor.
Wait, we have company. A hero working behind the scenes to prevent a terrible conspiracy, but soon to become the target of a clandestine arrest. In Colombia, these sorts of stories are common enough, and such a script wouldn't fetch a good price in Frankfurt. At the end of the day, is it a party being obstructed by the establishment and wanting to punish them for it? Or the other party dispatching a commission to let this yet-to-be-exposed deal sink into the abyss? What do you think? Seems like there's no need for guesses here. They all have reasons to investigate us. You included Director Fitzroy. Surely you showed up here at this moment for more than a greeting. Oops. But you just look at the time. They're waiting for me to start the meeting. I hope I haven't disrupted your plans too much just by stalling you a bit.
Doctor, please stand back. I'm going to begin attacking.
Director Fitzroy. My friends call me Justin Jr. Justin Jr.? The military seeing us together won't be good for you. What if I told them that the young and beautiful feline lady by your side has something to do with a top-secret military experiment that should rightfully be covered in dust and long unused? Is that a threat from an enemy, or is that a reminder from a friend? The choice lies with you. Do remind me just how many of our excellent employees have you already poached from Rhinelab? Was it 8 or 10? Jara has been thinking about getting acquainted with whoever runs your HR. Since Rhode Island and Rhinelab have been cooperating so closely, the next time we meet I might even have a contract for you with an offer you can't refuse. Well, looking forward to it. Rhode Island thanks you for your interests. Alright, I won't bother you and Miss Feline here any longer. By the way, Doctor, after you get back, please do ask Mulesies a question for me. When she goes out to eat, what's her preferred cuisine? Only one conference room left. The target is most likely inside. Prepare to breach. It's empty? Did you hear a sound just now? What sound? The sound of water. Ah, how wonderful it is. It's a lively energy, strong enough to fight even fate itself. Back to the other group.
Saria? Saria! She's not responding. No way. Her head suffered a serious impact, and though her vital signs are there, she's still in critical condition. She needs emergency treatment. Ifrit, help me lift her arms. Ah, so heavy. Don't even think about hurting Saria again. Silence, I can burn a way out for us, and we can go try and meet up with the doctor. No, the people watching us are definitely also after Rhode Island. Yes, the military is already inside Rhine, and your friends might not be able to protect themselves. Director Jara? Come with me, kids. I can't just sit by and watch the other founder of Rhinelab fall here.
Mr. Vice President, Congress called back. It's regarding the bill to dismantle those military bases. They're ready to move the hearing up. In addition, the Justice, who reached out to us earlier, has hinted that she's willing to cooperate with us to overturn the previous ruling. The military is going to pay for their recklessness. We have an optimistic estimate that Colonel Blake will be out of 3 months within the next 12 hours. Everything is waiting for your decision, sir. A call should be coming in, Powered. Yes, this is the Vice President's temporary office. Yes, he's right next to me. Yes. Mr. Vice President, it's, hand it over. I know who's looking for me. Alright. I understand. I feel the same. I'm not about to let everyone down at this critical juncture. Mr. Vice President, about the bill... Shelve it. There is no need to put this matter on the agenda for the next 6 months. Is that an order from the Mail-Ender Foundation? Powered, how many casualties were there in that mess from your report? We eliminated 30 military operatives. And how much money do we spend on training these soldiers every year? 3 million to train a combat-ready man to DoD standards, sir. So we basically just lost 90 million in cash and 30 outstanding talents. That's right. So there's no need to ask whose order it is. It's a decision that's in the best interests of Columbia. Go get me a meeting with Blake. It's time for us and the DoD to work together. Understood. I'll always remember the day the election results came in, when I thought smugly to myself that I could finally sit behind the desk of my dreams and I received the biggest shock of my life. Back then I almost thought my country was caught up in a huge conspiracy. But I've come to realize that's not what's happening. Columbia isn't wrapped up in any conspiracy, and Mail-Ender isn't the shadow government I thought it was. It's just silly things happen in an orderly way. That's what makes it seem like we've been making real progress. But I'm still just a regular guy. Every now and then, something crazy pops into my head. If I really was caught in that explosion, then would I be remembered as a martyr for Columbia, or just tossed in the dustbin of history as some incompetent politician? What do you think? The Vice President looks around the empty office as if waiting for the omnipresent heir to answer his question. Then the man standing so close to the apex of Colombian power sighs.
The military won't be bothering you any longer, so why the long face?
Oh, olheyak, you are a difficult woman to reach.
Sorry about that. My boss, who I've not seen in a long time, has popped on over to Tremounts. I needed some time to compile my reports.
I'm afraid the Tin Man has forgot to send me any copies.
And that's why I've come to answer your questions personally. As long as it's something I know, I'm happy to tell all.
Alright, you're the primary representative for the Mail-Ender Foundation's Rhine Lab desk. So tell me, where exactly is the main instigator of all this malarkey? Where is Kirsten Wright right now?
She's in a place that not even the finest of Columbia's commandos are able to reach. A place never documented by the Mail-Ender Foundation.
There's nowhere in Columbia like that.
It's not on any map of the country. At least for now. Even though the location might overlap with our territory, it is truly out of our line of sight.
So you mean...
Mr. Vice President, you are no doubt familiar with Project Exploration, an archaeological undertaking spanning multiple years, led by the Mail-Ender Historical Association, or rather our Tin Man.
Those ancient ruins buried under the vast wasteland.
Exactly. Coincidentally, we also came across this information during our recent raid operation on Rhine-related personnel.
Exploration records?
These records are currently in the hands of a former executive of Rhinelab, a close friend of Kirsten Wright's, as well as an offshore company with an existing criminal record in Colombia. And it is the most coincidental thing that this company called Rhode Island has a working relationship with my dear leader, the Tin Man.
Meanwhile, in another place,
a water purification and circulation system.
You could also call it a sewage drain.
It used to have another name, Locus of Sorcery, once the most primitive weapons of witchcraft from the Tikas.
That's its actual full name. The thing that it was installed on the Pioneer Team's nomadic temporary housing.
Though it's certain that the device's core components have already long been lost. All that is left are the outermost pipes, and you people had a reasonable idea of how to recycle it.
I will take that as a compliment on behalf of the Colombians, madam. That country has gone through hard times. During the Great Expansion, when supplies were scarce, every object was classified into only one of two qualities: useful or useless. This may be a medium of some magnificent memories in your eyes, but to the ordinary people living in Colombia, they are useful pipes that will not be rusting anytime soon. After all, no matter how old an object is, or how great an era it has seen, those unable to be comprehended by people of the current era will be no different from scrap.
Our own levels of understanding are but restricted by our own time and space. You and I are not exempt either, and the same goes for Kirsten Wright. She couldn't have drawn her power from a Tikas-like legacy, and whatever outside forces she has borrowed power from is much more powerful than that. There are still 32 technologies waiting to be ruled out. Most of these are not on the Maylander Historical Association's exploration records.
I presume you won't be needing my company for whatever is coming next.
Sure enough, but this will not affect our partnership with Maylander.
Yes, indeed. This has always been your way of going about things. You're hoping that Kirsten will not get hold of that technology, but you also hope that Colombia won't be able to prematurely pocket that fortune for themselves. Still the same as always, selfless and neutral.
I have one more thing to ask of you.
We can discuss that first, madam.
The doctor and those two girls. As you've said, there are some roads that only I can take. I'd like to trouble you to take care of them when it's inconvenient for me to do so.
Oh, I've misjudged you. You have changed after all, madam. You are more humane than you once were.
No one or thing is forever unchangeable, Revenant. Mr. Tin Man, all we can do is to accept these changes. Hey, doctor, you good? I should rein in the water and not let it enter the respiratory tract. Or could it be that my skills have gotten rusty over not using them for so long? The doctor probably bumped that hood on something and passed out. So sorry. It's all cause of that Justin Jr. He suddenly dumped a stack of papers on me, said all the directors have to fill them out or we won't get our funding for next year. That was close, I almost didn't make it.
Didn't make it to what?
Oh, you're awake, doctor. Good morning. No, good evening.
This isn't Rhine. I remember being in a ventilation duct.
Yep, I was manipulating my water around when I knew you were in trouble. The two of you were about to be discovered when I found you, so I wrapped you up in water and brought you here. I was in a hurry, so excuse the bumpy ride, okay?
Well, I owe you one.
You saved me once, and now I got you back. Oh, who knows whose turn it'll be next? Doctor, I know you just woke up, but I gotta tell you some bad news. It seems like Saria got attacked at the same time you were.
Is she okay?
I'm not sure about the specifics, but that's Saria, you know. Harder than diamonds. She wouldn't be in any serious danger, right? The big question is what you do next. You must have gotten the feeling that once the military gives you a warning, they don't give you up so easily. So your situation here is... Actually, Rhode Island's situation is far from hunky-dory.
Rosmontes... Rosmontes?
Outside. The corridor. Someone is walking toward us. Huh? But I was so cautious on the way here. The army couldn't possibly have tailed us that easily. Or could it be the mail-in guys? Like Mr. Tin Can and his pets? Secret agents like to pop up like this, don't they?
Rosmontes? Is it the Tin Man?
I don't know. I don't feel anything special. The feeling I'm getting is, very normal.
Muses, can you take a look around the area?
You want me to send a few eyes out there? You got it.
Finally. Sorry, am I late? I wanted to see you as soon as you got to 3 mounts. Unfortunately, my work took much longer than expected.
You're... Wait, I remember that mug from the docks. You're Logan Williams? Logan?
Yes, it is I. You must have received my letter, Narcissa.
Who is Narcissa? My name is Rosmontes. It's my only name.
You... no matter. What's important is that you've come. To tell the truth, I've been a bit nervous ever since I sent the letter. To see that you're willing to meet me makes me a very happy man.
And we have a real name for Rosmontes. Narcissa. Anyway, we are moving on to stage number 4, titled Rising Waves, and it says to go with the flow or against it. So let's begin.
You wrote the letter? You wanted me to come here?
Yes, my child. I even want to go looking for you myself. But time is short, so I had no choice but to have a friend deliver that letter to Rhode Island. Yeah, Rhode Island, that's what it was. And after the disaster, I heard that the organization took you in. Have they been treating you well?
They are my family. Dr. Calcit, Amia, the Doctor, Blaze, Radian, and everyone in the squad. They're all my family.
So you mean you found a new family?
The frail man coughs violently, and his naturally crooked body seems to droop even lower. He stares at Rosmontes as if wanting to go move to her, but a thin wall of water stops him in his tracks. Mulesies knows who he is, and so do you. This is the very same name that cropped up many times in Rosmontes' files. The criminal that should have been well behind bars has suddenly appeared before you, acting as a grandparent rushing to visit his grandchild after work. You came alone?
This is what I wanted. Nothing to do with anyone else. Let me get a good look at you. You've grown up, girl. Over the past 4 years. No, it should be 5 soon enough. I thought of you so many times while we've been apart. Whenever I think about the time we were separated from each other, I just feel so sorry. I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you from them. Those mediocre hacks with their superficial goals. They destroyed the future we could have had together.
Future? We were supposed to live together? But I don't remember you. Should I have remembered this? I recorded everything I don't want to forget in my terminal.
You've forgotten who I am. Have you lost all your memories and forgotten the wrongs I've done?
Are you a bad man? Did you do something bad to me?
That's not for me to answer, my child. It would make this meeting meaningless. Your memory loss, it should not have been an effect of the experiments. Could there have been another party? Maylander, or perhaps Rhine?
Don't aim those eyes at my way, Mr. Williams. I'm just the teensy-weensy director of Ecological. Besides, even if the old goat was here, his precarious code of ethics wouldn't be any worse than yours, right?
This has nothing to do with ethics. Rhode Island, did you wipe the girl's memories and manipulate her emotions?
I won't dignify that with a response.
Yes, you couldn't have done that. It was my work after all. I was so meticulous that no one could have possibly stripped away such an important part of her when her vitals were functioning normally. Oh, I see now. It was me after all. Perhaps I didn't make enough observations. Yes, we didn't have the luxury of time. The pressure of consciousness is honestly beyond anything a layman could comprehend. Or could it be that you passed your memories onto your siblings? Onto your sibling?
I don't know how to answer you.
There must be a way. Let me think. Any fragment of that incident is beyond meaningless, same as the records and data. They all belong in the garbage dump. But emotions, shapes, scents. Oh yes, smells. That's it.
Floral scent? This smells like crushed juice, smeared on the walls and on my hands. No. Stop thinking about it. I don't want this.
Yes, I knew it. I'm still somewhere in your memories. Please, child, bring out those memories. Remember your hatred for me. Let your anger fill your body, your mind, your omnipresent spirit.
Stop. Get out of here. You're hurting Rosmontes.
Hurting her? No, her pain comes from the past, not the present. I only want to give her the gift she's been longing for.
This is no gift, this is torture.
Do you actually understand her pain? Everything you know about her and her experiences is second-hand information from Maylander. Don't you think she has the right to be angry, to hold resentment? Oh, I know. Both you and Maylander are walking the same path. You want her easy to control because you're afraid of her. Afraid of a weapon of reignited anger.
Weapon. Everything you experience with Rosmontes in Chernobyl comes flooding back before your eyes. The fights, desperate, with determination to live alongside the pain of farewells. Yes, you've heard the term used many a time in the past to describe the feline girl by your side. She felt it was harsh before, but this time it's unbearable. Because it came out of Loken Williams' mouth, the root cause that led Resmontes here in the first place. You have many ideas on how to refute his claims. It also occurs to you that if Calcid were here, she would be capable of coming up with an even more extensive response. But another thought comes to mind before your words. Punch him.
I see. You're outraged by my words. That's fine. You're not willing to think of her as a weapon. Just look at her. She's standing in front of you, even wielding a sword for you.
Doctor, please get behind me. My sword might be able to pierce through the building's outer wall.
Resmontes, you...
Enemies! There are enemies closing in quick. I will protect you, Doctor. My mind still feels like it's a mess up, but Dr. Calcid and Amia told me my mental state is a lot more stable now. They allowed me to protect you. And this is the one thing I can definitely do.
Thank you. I know.
Doctor of Rhode Island. If you truly care for her, then you should know what she really needs. Just ask her yourself this. What are you trying to protect? A soldier that would die for you, or a child with a traumatic past?
The question is not difficult to answer, but it is obvious that Loken is not interested in your reply. From the moment he stepped into the room, he has been staring directly at the white feline girl next to you. His turbid gaze full of enthusiasm, sorrow, and a certain kind of anticipation.
They're here.
Such a pity this is the end of our meeting. You're not ready yet, my child, and I know you will be. I'll be waiting for you at home.
Hold it.
You actually caught up. No, you were waiting for me. Which one of you is your true self? The silent one in the room earlier, or the one right here?
That's not important.
Your Virginia marks are quite interesting, or perhaps... Oh, forget it, I don't have time for this curiosity. Do you have business with me, Director of Rhine Lab?
Where's Kirsten?
Ah, but you're the Rhine one here. Are you sure you should be asking me that?
The only way you could have gotten out of prison is with her help. Your being here means the work she entrusted you is already complete. She's done preparing, right? She's really planning to...
Pitiful girl.
Hey! I'm not about to let a rotten geezer who looks like he hasn't showered in 3 days call me pitiful.
Astonished, unwilling, and anxious. You're afraid, little girl. You're afraid of being betrayed by those you trust and of being abandoned by others. Well, the worst is your confusion. You're at such a complete loss that you have no choice but to ask an outsider like me. Such a familiar feeling it is. When my teacher handed all my research to Maylander, when he expelled me from the academy, when my students submitted all my data to the military before I did, and I had to speed up my experiments leading to that ultimate failure. When my family sold everything we had in DC and disappeared. I saw that very same look in the mirror.
My eye bags can't be that bad. I just don't get it. Why would she trust that wretched woman from Maylander and you over Saria or Are you stalling for time here? If you're waiting for olheyak to pick you up, I won't necessarily lose, you know?
You don't want me for an enemy, girl.
Huh?
Do you really think you could stop Kirsten and I just by catching up to me? Or maybe you want to catch me? You want to catch me to catch Kirsten?
Ulysses falls into a daze. Loken turns his back, and yet she still doesn't act. Only when the familiar wind caresses her face so mockingly does she realize that Loken is no longer anywhere to be seen on the streets.
I let him go. What am I doing?
Ulysses? You listening?
Oh, Doctor. I'm right here. Heard everything you said crystal clear, yes sirree.
Did your clone manage to stop Loken?
Clone. Yes, my clone outside. Doctor, you guessed right. They couldn't have let such a terminally ill old man come here by himself. Before his assistants got him away, I only managed to get one thing. Logan Williams is definitely involved in Kirsten's plans.
The home that Loken spoke of, and the secret that Maylander and the army are searching for. The puzzle pieces are overlapping, and they're pointing right at Kirsten Wright's hideout.
Doctor, your terminal. There's a new message.
It's from Maylander.
What a quinky dink. I was just wondering when we were gonna see the Tin Man again. You got roughened up by the army because of him, so it's only right that he should make it up to you, isn't it?
Resmontes, are you ready to proceed with the mission?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Ulysses,
Huh?
thanks for standing with us.
Our cooperation is far from over, so you're going to wear out those words if you keep standing on ceremony, you know? And Doctor, do you really trust me so much?
What did you say?
Nothing. Alright, let's get moving.
Meanwhile,
Silence. Is the temperature okay? Not too hot? You're controlling it very well. Saria's body temperature has stabilized and she should be out of danger. Ifrit, you should rest for a bit. Using Originium arts for a long time will wear you out. No, I'm staying with Saria. I still remember back in the White Room, she kept me company when I was stuck in that bed. I was always in pain. My mind was totally messed up and I couldn't stop myself from burning everything I saw. I don't even have a clear picture of every visit. I just know that every time I opened my eyes, she would be there at my bedside, and I felt so relieved. So now I want to stay here and keep her company, even though she won't open her eyes. I'm sure she can feel that I'm here. I'm sure she can. She just needs a bit more sleep. Something still feels off. What's wrong? I just realized Saria isn't that much taller than I am, and also her palms are soft, with such pretty nails too, just like your hand, Silence. Yes. Saria is, of course, an ordinary human. I'm afraid she's quite far from ordinary. Director Jara? She prefers to solve problems by herself, without a word. She always keeps a straight face that deters people from voicing their opinions. Would you like to make a guess just how many employees from Defense I had to offer psychological counseling year after year? Are you unhappy with Saria? Unhappy? One year I asked Kirsten if she was set on transferring a researcher to make the head of the defense section. Guess what the woman there did when she found out? She threw 36 listening devices onto my desk and right in my face, shattered them to pieces with her newly developed arts. An unfortunate thing, as a couple of them were operating on behalf of some of our dear government departments. They were just a little wary of such a rapidly progressing tech company. I was happy to share some controllable information with them to get them to ease up a little. I spent some time dealing with the trouble that came with the incident, but who could deny the determination and skill of the young weaver? I guess Saria has always been like that. Sure enough, many years have come and gone, and if you compare her then and now, it doesn't seem like there's been much development. She's the most resolute and determined woman I know. Whoever said she wasn't? I've watched she and Kirsten walk their paths, and I'm well aware just how decisive and strong she is. But even such an outstanding individual can't stand against the whole damned country. If you let her take on these obstacles she hasn't overcome in all this time, she'll only be smashed to bits. Here. Car keys? Take Saria and Ifrit and leave before it's too late. Saria wouldn't want that. No, she wouldn't, but I'm not talking about Saria right now. Aren't you the type to go innocent lives shouldn't be put at risk? This girl shouldn't be involved, and neither should you. No one needs to die here. I need a bit more time. Director Jara? I'm afraid we're all out of time. Take the secret passageway out now. What's wrong? An old friend has come knocking.
And there she goes to meet that new old friend. This conference room. Whenever we had meetings, Paris would sit by the window, Nilsis likes to sit in the middle, and you, Director Jara, you sit here, furthest from Kirsten.
And you're the same as before, always standing behind somebody else's seat.
How nostalgic.
Would you like something to drink? Red wine, or should we pop open the champagne?
Is there an occasion?
Of course, Mr. Ferdinand Clooney is enjoying a career upgrade and also returned to Rhine Lab. Sounds like a case for celebration.
You think I'm here as the army's guide? No, they have their own plans for Rhine, and I don't approve at all, because I know that if something happens to the vice president while he's here, that's the end of the company. Kirsten can ignore the existence of Rhine Lab, but not me.
The event today went off without a hitch.
Don't play dumb with me, Jara. You may not know just what kind of people run the army. They could repeat today's adventure anytime they want. So before those savages rip a dozen years worth of time and effort to shreds, can you just tell me the truth? What exactly is Kirsten doing?
Did Colonel Blake not tell you? The very first day Dr. Wright disappeared, I handed every document about Control and her projects right over to them. And for the record, it happened more than once. I've worked days of overtime just for this.
Dr. Wright, as if you two have the most ordinary collaborative relationship. Should I show Blake the picture hidden in the darkest corner of your office drawer? Or has our dear HR director already come up with an explanation for why she's hiding the New Year's card little Kirsten wrote her 2 decades ago?
That's just an old photo. Kids aren't as cute and well-behaved after they grow up. Ferdinand, you know that better than me. That sock in the jaw at Site 359 still a smarting?
She's gone into hiding, like a child clinging to her favorite toy. Except it's not a toy, it's a goddamn super weapon, with some real forbidden secrets behind it. So you should find her and drag her out, if you still care about her. Or would you rather watch her die for the vaguest of ideals?
Even if I couldn't bear to watch her go that far ahead, how do you suppose that stopping her is within my power? This is Kirsten we're talking about, Ferdinand. She'll take everything you have. Do you think she would ever leave such a major weakness if you really want to treat the relationship between me and her as a vulnerability so easily within your grasp?
Good, great. You refuse to cooperate. And what about the others? For example, Saria. You rescued her, and you've hidden her somewhere around here. You're so willing to talk to me, but just to buy her more time to escape. Let's say she manages to escape. Who could she even go to? Rhode Island, caught up in the same mess, or that group of mail-order agents who love spinning webs just much as you do?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The military just picked up a new piece of intelligence. Saria, as well as the company behind her, Rhode Island, are suspected of helping Kirsten steal classified information pertaining to national security. Maybe working at Rhinelab for more than a decade has made you naive enough to assume your old boss was some hero of justice. Alright then, and we have no new enemies here to add, so we shall proceed to the after part.
The usual stench of the sewers and spots where the light doesn't reach. These alleys are all the same. Urban planners probably can't afford to invent new ways to do their jobs at the speed these cities pop up out of the barren lands. It's just too bad that you miss out on the local scenery if you use these nooks and crannies too much. Am I right, my good subordinate? Isn't it better to get a view of the city from above?
A gust of wind blows through the empty alley. All the unexhaled smoke rings swirl back into the cracks of his metal. The Tin Man wonders if this is an opportune time to hack a few cuffs, as if choking. A lighter floats right in front of him, as soon as the embers of his cigarette die out.
Banal is such a lamentable assessment for a city like this, with no history.
Olheyak. You were supposed to make contact 3 days ago.
Oh, I had the impression that you were not particularly punctual yourself.
If you could just tone down your volume, why did you pick this place for our meeting?
Did you forget? The factory in District 13 is close by.
Did you find the item from the other day?
Yes, but unfortunately there are only fragments left. Fragments of stars with no way to guide the lost.
And Kirsten, where is she?
Well,
Are you watching the sky?
you get a clearer view of the sky without the skyscrapers around. Do you think Kirsten might be hiding in a star up there? If so, then how are we supposed to find her?
Olheyak, you went into the library 2 months ago.
I'm a historian. Isn't it basically my job to visit libraries?
We're talking about Mainlander's library here. I don't recall authorizing that.
You know I can't contain my curiosity.
Just like right now.
If I could trouble my employer with a question that I've been awfully curious about.
What is it?
Your smoke. Other than the clouds you puff out, the few wisps that slip into your body, where exactly do they go?
Is this why you have the tip of your tail on my chest?
I smell my favorite scent on you. History. So if it's at all possible, I'd love to get a good look at every little piece of your body for my research. Where should I start? Your head, chest, extremities?
Olheyak. Do you really think betraying the Mainlander Foundation is the right choice here?
Of course not. Mainlander holds most of this country's secrets, And in Colombia, secrets can be traded for wealth, or used as murder weapons. I spent 3 whole years before I finally managed to get into the Historical Society, and spent another 3 to gain your trust. Do you know what 6 years means to me? Being a Mainlander agent has already taken 1/7 of my life.
Then you shouldn't be wasting the rest of it behind bars or on the run.
Yes, I know. And yet, if my time here isn't enough to embrace what I've been yearning for my whole life, then what difference does it make if I live another 10 years? Or 1 more minute?
Mainlander won't allow anyone, least of all a defected agent, to access information they shouldn't be accessing. A shame you only have me to see in your last moments.
Then I can only pray to the stars that the dead won't speak so easily.
Fine, let me switch up the question. Do you really think you can kill me?
I'll never know until I try.
Huh? Your air manipulation shouldn't be affecting me. No, this isn't a Kukulkan ability at all.
You know me just so well, don't you? Unfortunately, I'm not exactly completely clueless as to what you are. Ordinary arts have no effect on you, but...
A curse. The power of the oldest Sarkis witchcraft. A soul-imprisoning curse.
It's been an awfully long time since you've had a test of something like this, That one year when a Mainlander agent went deep into the bleached wasteland to investigate the ruins of the Sarkis royal court and suffered an unprecedented life-threatening injury.
I didn't expect Mainlander to leave those files intact.
You can't have thought that I ventured into Mainlander's top-secret database just for Kirsten.
It did remind him that documenting everything isn't necessarily a good habit to have all the time.
According to you, only the long-lived would have such an extensive memory, while the rest of us just want to grab as much knowledge as we can, so naturally come up with different methods. Otherwise, how could we short-lived beings hope to resist the control of people like you?
If you really want to destroy this body, you probably need a little more time.
I have 2 minutes to spare.
So you're not even going to come out of hiding to greet me. Banshee?
Weren't you just talking about how unwilling you are to show yourself? Like I said, I have no interest in watching you murder your own boss. But he's more than just that. Oh, old acquaintances, are you? Personally, not at all. But my blood knows him. Fascinating. I've been over it many times, and this guy here doesn't smell Sarkas. Be careful of any tricks he might play. I don't want him to resurrect right after all the trouble I've gone through to kill him. I won't let him interfere with the next step of the plan.
I can't do it. A delicate trap you've laid. I had guessed that olheyak might have planted something in the sky, but I didn't expect a banshee's curse to be hidden in the noise of the construction site.
My blood has taught me the power of words, and the sound of machinery clashing and colliding is the language I hear most.
An amazing talent to have fooled even me. There are only a few banshees, including those in the royal court, who could make me suffer like this. Were you born in Kazdal, or the Valley of the Banshees?
It doesn't matter, my blood is not pure enough, and I haven't experienced any grand events either. Right now I'm just an engineer living in Colombia, doing whatever I want.
Have you found a home in Colombia?
What about you?
So many years have passed by in a flash. I've heard that over the past 2 centuries, those 2 youths, Theresis and Theresa, have finally built Kazdal as a nomadic city. I don't even know myself what Kazdal looks like today. Are the streets still as crowded, the flags hanging on the city walls unchanged for a millennium, and the undying furnace in the core still as hot as ever? Can you relight my cigarette, child?
This little spark can't hold the remaining warmth of your soul.
I know. I only want to stay a little longer to ask you a few more questions. What did you see in Kirsten's dreams?
The future.
Has she actually promised you a change to the Sarkis' fate? Do you believe she can do what no one has been able to accomplish over the past millennium?
No, she only showed me a possibility. A possibility that came from within myself. Alright, engineer girl. If I could just trouble you to ask my darling employer if he has any last words. The fire is almost out.
Time moves too fast for an old man like me.
The last question is mine. An ancient one like you must have seen the fall of many Kazdals, and surely you must have thought of and searched for a place.
She switches to speaking in Sarkas.
Where is the Sarkas promised land?
Promised land.
Time's up.
A silver green tail shatters the Tin Man's sigh with a strong burst of wind. The last spark fizzles out at the same time the cigarette hits the ground. A bone whistle sounds. 3 Mounts has never heard such a sound. Neither the residents in their deep sleep or the office workers working overtime will be aware of what just happened, other than those who've made an appointment. Rosmontes, do you hear that?
Huh?
Logos was too busy to come to 3 Mounts, right?
My terminal says Logos has a lot to do. He hasn't trained with me for a long time, so I haven't been using my full strength in my sessions.
Don't make things hard on the mechanist. It's been hard for Blaze and Sharp too.
Blaze and Sharp always complain that training with me is more tiring than going out on missions. Before we left the land ship, Radian told me that Logos would come back with Amia soon. I miss Amia too. I miss her so much. Doctor, will we be able to see them after we finish this and return to Rhode Island?
I miss them too. I hope we can see them soon too.
Doctor, did you make it there?
Yes, the message says we're meeting in this alley. I think the Tin Man should be already waiting for me. We'll go home soon. I promise. The alley is dark and silent, like an abyss. Something rolls out from the murky shadows. Perhaps it's due to its material hardness, but as it rubs against the ground, it eerily resembles a cog out of its wheel, a frightful rattle echoing through the darkness of the night. It rolls straight to the alley entrance, where light and darkness meet. It turns out to be a metal head. The upper half is usually obscured by a hat's brim, and the mouth on its lower half often has a cigarette exhaling rings of smoke, while spouting words that are at times perceptive and other times incourageous. But now there is no cigarette, no hat, no trench coat, or even the part that should be present past the neck. There is only a head. The Tin Man is dead?
I would take it easy if I were you. After all, if you do make any moves, I can't guarantee that your head won't end up rolling along with my old employers there.
Let's get to the point. You didn't come here just to banter with me.
Sure. Two things. It's time for Rhode Island to end your excursion in 3 months, and the other, as you've just seen, the leader of the Mainlander agents, the Tin Man, has been murdered. We need a culprit.
And you've picked me.
Your frailty certainly affects the credibility of the idea, but the mundanity and perfectly enigmatic vibes of Rhode Island makes you an excellent target for Mainlander investigations, even if just for a bit.
You want to buy Kirsten some time.
It won't do you any good to look for other secrets, okay?
It's not like I can run. It never hurts to get a better understanding of each other.
Or do you want to employ your expert negotiation techniques to listen to a number of reasons why I can't do anything to you? What a pity that 3 months is not Caronto, and your opponent is not some black-hearted farmer. I've had my eyes on you ever since you stepped into 3 months. At first, none of this had anything to do with you, or Rhode Island at all. Even if you and Sari are moving in the same direction, role-playing as heroic firefighters, why haven't you dispatched a few more men like that good old mechanic to mop things up quick? You're not going to talk? Then why don't I tear your chest open and take a look at the secrets hiding inside?
The silvery green Liberi approaches. Her plumage scrapes the fabric of your hood, emanating a soft but piercing sound.
At first I thought you were the same as those other eccentric scientists, but trying to find some sort of revelation about the future in Kirsten's research. After all, we're such a silly species, aren't we? Limited lifespan and unlimited ambition. The moment we realize the limits of what we can accomplish in our short lives, we become willing to surrender our arrogance for just a moment and beg for a shortcut. But on you, I smell no trace of that desire. What do you dream of? And what of your past? I'm becoming very interested in you now, Doctor. But unfortunately, my colleagues are about to show. Hold your friend's head in your hands and enjoy a captivating session with Columbia's top agents. You might find yourself astonished. Think through some answers to my questions during your interrogation.
I hope I don't give you the chance to run.
Wait. Why are you here? Did this hood ever come with a guarantee of who would be under it? A water clone. Any more tricks up your sleeve, pathetic elf? Doesn't matter. Doctor of Rhode Island, we will see each other very soon. Doctor, there are a lot of people rushing towards that alley.
They're Mainlander agents.
It's a good thing only used your brains and borrowed my clone for that meeting. Otherwise, you'd have fallen into that horrible woman's trap for real.
She's definitely left evidence implicating Rhode Island.
You heard everything she said over the comms, right? Did we make enemies of both Baylander and the military?
I'm afraid so.
You're not joking, are you? Doctor, if you and the Tin Man had any plans, now would be a good time to share them, you know. Your silence implies... Wait, Doctor, you can't mean that he... Something really happened to that mega mysterious super agent in the trench coat with a tin can for a head?
I heard a Banshee's bone whistle. The Nell has told for him.
That was a bone whistle? Wait, Banshee, you say? Of the Sarkis variety? Was it for Kirsten? Did she...
Mulesy suddenly falls silent. She looks up at the sky above Three Mounts. There is nothing up there besides thousands of stars. You cannot help but recall Olheyak's question from earlier. Why did you come to Three Mounts? Kirsten, what sort of person is she exactly? And what exactly is the dream that she's chasing? Meanwhile...
Quick, silence! Over here!
Well, shit, I let something spill through a gate. Time to restart. Sorry, had to do it.
This alarm. Did something happen to Director Jara? Silence! Are you okay? I'm fine. Sorry, I'll help you carry her. Your face is all sweaty. If Saria doesn't wake up now, they're gonna catch us. Don't push the blame onto Saria. But your face... You look like you're about to... I'm fine, Ifrit. I just happened to remember what happened earlier. I watched her fall in front of me, and my very first reaction was not to worry or surprise, but regret. Because you were mad at her? Yes. If that really was the last conversation we ever had, I didn't want to think that I was blaming her. Actually, I've never... I don't know who else can hear me out. Then just patch things up. Huh? And then when Saria wakes up, we can go back together. How about it? She'll return here the moment she wakes up. That's the sort of woman she is. Fine, I think I get it. Neither of you is gonna go home, are you? That's right. Then why not work together? Work together? Yes, Silence. Even though you got some new gear on, you're still a doctor. If you keep on running like this, you're gonna get hurt, or even die. I know Sari is a great fighter. Even I've started to know that teamwork's important, yet she still likes to work alone. If it weren't for us, Saria would be in even worse situation right now. Neither of you wanted me to tag along, but at the very least, you gotta promise me that you'll work with Saria. Otherwise, the two of you will worry me, and I'll worry about you guys too. Ifrit. Just say yes or no. I'll even behave and go back to the doctor, just promise me. Some words are easier to say when you're a team, right? Where did you learn all this? The doctor taught me all these people skills. I'll think about it. Great. Silence. What's it over there? A transmitter that just appeared? It's all silvery and flowy. Real pretty. Don't touch it. Ifrit, that's very dangerous. Dangerous? No way. More than my flames? It's another product of Ryan's experiments. For real? Then I'll burn it up. No, just wait and see. Don't be too quick to destroy it.
A small lump of silvery substance gushes inside a test tube. Ever since it left Parvis's home, it has lingered without a target direction, as if it has lost its hub directive. As if its only mission is to lead her to Parvis.
Professor Parvis never does anything without purpose. His appearance earlier could have just been him wanting to chat with me. He deliberately led me to think he was the goal in this race for the transmitter. Could it be the transmitter was never... Silence! The door is over the door is over here! How could... Did someone spot us? Stand back, Ifrit. Calcification? Saria, you're awake! Hooray! But you're... I'm fine. You're not bluffing a doctor that easily. I'm just holding this door until it's safe enough for you to leave. QED, I'm perfectly fine. The military mechs are closing in on our position. This path is no longer safe. Director Jara... She wouldn't hand over the information that easily. And so there is only one possibility remaining.
Meanwhile, 10 minutes. They should have run into Blake's people by now. The old Saria would have probably stood a chance to escape unscathed. However, she's injured and carrying 2 extra burdens. Want to guess how long she can last in front of a fully armed Special Forces unit? Your phone is ringing, ma'am.
It's me. Of course, I'm always willing to serve Columbia. Thank you for the advice.
By now, you should be willing to believe me that I did try my best. I tried my hardest just to secure this opportunity to talk. If you had agreed with me earlier, then our defense director's life would at the very least not be in danger. But you still sent them on that path, to that secret passage known only to Mainlander agents. Sorry I might die because of you, and the next one to go may well be the one you're most concerned about. I'm hoping from the bottom of my heart that you think the question over. Where the hell is Kirsten Wright?
Director Jara works for Mainlander. I investigated her 10 years ago and found nothing. It was only when the Tin Man showed up and I left Rhine Lab that I got more clues to confirm it. She's been at Rhine for a long time. She knew Kirsten even before I did. Ifrit, attack the window on your left. Gotcha! It's still sturdy. The glass is in the experimental labs is all reinforced, so ordinary impacts aren't going to be able to smash them. And if we break them now, we'll attract the attention of the soldiers downstairs. We can use my fire to cut through the glass. I can control my flames already, so I'll be able to do it. The teacher mentioned this in my Originium Arts classes. Fire can be tempered, be silent, and become a quiet anger. Make my flames into a sword. Make my flames into a single thread. Ha! It cracked a little bit. You've split the animal. Sorry, just hold on a little longer. I'm halfway through. I can do it. Focus, Ifrit. Don't get distracted. When you were unconscious, Director Jara told me that there is no way you can fight against the entire country. So if it is, as you say, that Mainlander and the military have come to some kind of agreement, then we truly are facing off the entire country right now. Yes. Your heart rate and body temperature are spiking near their limits, and you've only just woken up. Your body is taking a serious toll. Perhaps. Saria, you're at your limit. Silence. Jara modified your drone. I've seen the prototype blueprints. When did you... Its current load-bearing capacity is at least 2 adults for a short-distance glide. Get out through the hole if it opened, and the drone will be able to take you to the roof of the opposing building. You'll have to act fast. I'll wait for you to go over, and then I'll exit through this door and divert the pursuers. The numbers are many, and I won't be able to fend them off for long. Sorry, You still haven't given me an answer. Your inability to make a genuine stand against Rhine, is it because deep in your bones you've always been the same as them? The same as Control? Sorry, Silence. I thought it through and I'm unable to give you a definite answer. If Kirsten's experiment violates any laws that shouldn't have been broken, I will stop her. Just like all the wrongs Rhine has committed over the years. The wrong should be made right. For I've always believed that the stronger the one is, the less rash they should be acting. But if I were to return to the past, back to when Kirsten and I first met, then everything had yet to happen. I would not have stopped the Kirsten then. I would not have stopped the birth of Rhine Lab. Yes, even if I knew that Rhine would create so much suffering in the future, even if I could foresee the ambitions of Kirsten, Parvis and Ferdinand growing out of control, I would still stand with them. Saria, your answer might be even more definitive than you think.
Silence, Saria! Did you guys see that? I opened it!
Go, Silence. If there's anything else you would like to know, you can wait until this is all over, and I'll tell you. Alright.
Silence? Silence? Why are you spacing out? We gotta get moving.
Poorly Barry, none of this has anything to do with you. What exactly is it that you want? Truth, justice, or peace? I will tell you what you want to know. And yet, even if you know it all, what can you do?
This is not the answer I want. No. A drone's belt? Silence, what are you doing?
The veering of a drone starting up comes from behind. The unreinforced door at the end of the corridor is about to melt under the impact of the energy weapon. Saria is suspended in midair, holding Ifrit in one arm, stretching the other out towards Silence, trying to grab her. But Silence doesn't return her grip, and retraces the path she's taken in reverse.
I should have talked with you sooner, Saria. I only just came to understand why I can't help but get mad at you. I thought it was from the falling out we had during the diabolic crisis. Or that I'm dissatisfied with the way you insist on shouldering everything yourself. But actually, the one I'm most annoyed with is myself. The blame I push onto you for not doing enough, it's only because I built a habit of depending on you. I had hoped you could change Control, just like I once hoped the Professor could save Ifrit, and that Control could change Rhine Lab. I had hoped every deadlock would be solved by someone stronger. I'm so weak, aren't I? On the one hand, I love the powerful figures that manipulate everything and treat innocent lives like expendable resources and numbers. On the other hand, I still pin my hopes for the future on people stronger in not just power, but also morality and empathy. Only now do I understand that no one can truly carry everything on their own, and that it's beyond the capacity of a single individual. Everyone who has been willing to help me on the way here, Rhode Island, Director Mulsis, Director Jara, and you, all of you want me to stay out of it. If you hadn't collapsed in front of me, if Ifrit hadn't been in danger, I might have just obediently thrown in the towel. But now, I won't back down. I refuse to allow myself to stay under your wings. I refuse to accept that I can only stand in vain as the gunfire rings right above us and open my arms to the injured. And this time I will step into the flames before any of you.
The drone sends the two to a lower floor of the neighboring building. Saria smashes a window and they land smoothly. There must be more of Ferdinand's people on the lookout downstairs, but as long as there's room for action, she believes she can find a way to break through the encirclement. However...
Silence! What are you doing? Silence! Hurry up and fly over here with your drone!
Ifrit anxiously yells at the room across, but Silence takes a long look at them before turning her back. Just as Silence begins to turn, Saria gets a look at her eyes. They're brimming with regret. But more than that is determination. Ferdinand, we've got someone in the corridor. She says she has business with you.
Silence? Why are you... I'm sorry, Director Jara. I've already made up my mind. I have unfinished business, so I can't leave just yet.
I remember you. Parvis a stellar student. You and Elena gave me such a headache back at Site 359.
Yes, my name is Silence. I would like to make a deal with you.
A deal? Do you really think I would let Saria go? This isn't up to you.
No, this is the only thing that's up to me.
That's transmitter from Site 359. What are you doing? Even if you put the transmitter in your body, it's not going to work. Dorothy's hub was destroyed.
The new hub is in Kirsten's hands.
That's impossible. That was my experiment. Mine and Dorothy's...
A short while ago, I met Dr. Parvis. His laboratory was storing a large amount of transmitter. Director Clooney, you must have realized it long ago. You just don't want to admit it. You would rather believe your failure was owed to a bad move than to believe that Control was playing you the whole time. Did you really never consider the possibility? She's the one that's working more closely with the military. She had countless ways to kill your experiments with Dorothy in its infancy. But then why did she only show up after your experiment succeeded? We still have a chance. Whatever Kirsten is trying to do with Transmitter, she hasn't succeeded yet. Director Clooney, bring me to her. The transmitter is inside me. I'll become your beacon to locate Kirsten.
Damn, Silence. What a move. Alright, but we are not fully done yet. We have one thing, like I said at the beginning, to check out, and that is this beautiful button right here. Like I said, after you finish this stage, this unlocks, and considering that the date literally just shifted over, we will have 4 things to click in here. But yeah, anyway, the case investigation button opens, and we get this screen. Now, we have 2 areas here that we can interact with. 2 are still unknown at this point. But our first area is the shaft, or SHAFT. The shaft is part of the Arc-01 project. It focuses energy and projects it to HAMHRR, manipulating enough energy to operate multiple nomadic cities at the same time. So let's see what happens when we hit Start Investigation. Are you sure you want to investigate the shaft? You can spend one of the... Yep, sure. Oh, is this gonna be... Ah, this is what this is. Okay. Let me just quickly see then if anything else unlocks. Give me a moment. Alright, mission done. Let's see what happens. So go back, I'm guessing. Okay, 20%. Okay. Oh, I see what this is unlocking. Ah, I see. Oh, okay. Whoa. Well, this kind of reminds me of certain other menus. Holy hell. Wait. Wait. You're telling me there are so many CGs and I've only used one so far? Holy shit, what is happening in the rest of the story? I haven't even properly hit the half point there. Oh, we do have stuff. Yes. Alright. Alright. Well, I hope you are ready for extra data. Okay, for next time I'm gonna for this episode only include this one mission briefing. I'm gonna start the next episode with the other briefings. So let's read this. This is blind reading, by the way, now. Alright, part 1, mission briefing. In the 40s, the DoD tried to exert their influence on Bolivar, but ended up turning her into a grisly meat grinder. Okay, also, give me a moment. Since then, they have been unable to face both the federal and coalition governments, with the Federal War Preparation Act serving as the best proof of their compromises. A number of generals have strived to turn the tables on this decline, for there is nothing soldiers crave more than a strong military, and Colombia's rapid technological development was, to them, the dawn of a new era. Hence, the DoD extensively approached and invested in a wide range of tech companies, so much so that it used to be said that any business plan they need only mention weapon and propose to attract military investment. The president used to be pleased by the DoD's behavior, for it more or less promoted healthy competition benefiting the country, and their eagerness could eventually bolster Colombia's strength. The numbers don't lie. The DoD's extensive investment into R&D over the past few decades have indeed greatly enhanced our national defense capabilities. However, the general did not get the payoff they desired. The politicians cunningly snatched their achievements away, presenting their efforts as contributions to the country, while the situation remained unchanged over the decades. I'm sure you know what those old-timers who inherited the legacy of the revolutionaries in the 50s were thinking. They wanted to wash away the stain known as Bolivar from their uniforms, and the political upheaval never provided them their chance, and so they decided to add another competitor to their arms race. And I don't mean another weapon, but still but still a tool vital to national defense policy. Yes, the Horizon Arc project was approved, not because of what it contained, but the fact that the proposal managed to pass is a statement to its merit. Rhinelab does not focus primarily on military industry, but the DoD still had the audacity to invest in them. Who knows just how many contractors have been cursing them behind their backs for this betrayal. So the president is basically implying that we might go to war someday in the future, but it won't be started by the DoD. Perhaps the military feels as if they're the ones being oppressed, and what they are protecting is the future of this country. But the Horizon Arc project is nothing but a trigger for the wars to come, an unsuspecting fuse and nothing more. We must stop them at any cost. Alright, how many? Ooh. Juicy. There's juicy stuff in here. Okay, so there's gonna be shit unlocking in every single one. Okay, 4 on the first one. At least... pull. No, there's more. There's more. There's a lot more. Okay, this is exciting. But okay, this is enough for now. This is already a long enough episode. I just wanted to, you know, blind check and see what is in here. I will show you, however, what is in the second one. The second one is the HAMHRR. There's your teaser for next time. Look at that thing. And it says here on the side, the HAMHRR is part of the Arc 1 project. It receives energy from the ground and fires it at the target, able to reach a range beyond most Terran's reckoning. Alright. Yeah, you will also have entries, pictures. Oh yeah, you can actually see. I haven't even paid attention to this. Mission briefing. Okay, so this is a briefing. This is a picture. Briefing. No idea. Hashtag. Okay. Investigate area to unlock. Oh, investigate area to unlock. That's why. Oh, actually, no. The hashtag is something completely different. There are different icons. Ooh. Okay, I'm getting too distracted. This is exciting. If you cannot tell, this is exciting. Anyway, next episode I will start off with the unlocked extra intel from here. Not sure how much of it I will start off with. Probably a couple of them, because the next part is probably going to be out in like 2 days from now. So we'll see how many I can add in. And probably the next episode will be ending on something different. I wanted to have it prepared for this episode, but sadly I am out of chips to promote a certain unit, which is Rosmontes. And even before I started reading this chapter, I was thinking like I should introduce Rosmontes with their full file and voice file at the end of one of these episodes. However, I am out of sniper chips, so I have to wait until Friday. But for the next episode, we will be ending it probably with Rosmontes' full file and voice file, because I think that one will be interesting to read and add into these narrations as extra lore. I will also prepare probably Ifrit's module short story, probably not for next episode, but the episode afterwards, because I think that one will be also interesting to read through. I've didn't hear what's in there, but I heard that it's interesting, so I'll try and prepare that one as well for a future part. Yeah, we'll be adding a lot of extra lore into these. But yeah, I really think Rosmontes would be a proper introduction in here, because I honestly don't remember, outside of the main story, and maybe I'm really struggling right now with my brain, but maybe a operator record or something super random, and for a brief moment, I don't think she appears anywhere else? I might be mistaken? If it's a brief moment in some kind of random side story vignette or something, or an operator record for a brief second, probably forgetting because of that. But yeah, outside of the main story, she doesn't really appear anywhere. And I remember she was very heavily discussed because of her file way back when as a Rhine Lab experimental subject. So yeah, we'll do that in probably the next part. But for now, once again, thank you very much for everything so far. And if you liked this part, please consider leaving a like. Jesus Christ, I can't even speak anymore. This has been so much. But yeah, anyway, please consider leaving a like on the video. It would both mean a lot to me and help a lot in the algorithm battles. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you so want to, there are also memberships on the channel. And as I always say, there will be no videos barred behind a membership. They are literally just set to something very super cheap just to support the channel. If you so can, it is not a requirement, obviously. It's just an option. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. I will now go and make myself some tea, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.